Wild animals are best kept wild. It is in their best interest. Wildlife management experts and quality ecotourism associations understand this principle worldwide. It is forgotten in Citrus County, Florida, home of the Manatee Petting Zoo. Passive observation, an interaction guideline by U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, is a good rule. Unfortunately, it is rarely followed. Because a touch with one open hand is allowed when and only when a manatee approaches a swimmer, the incentive to reach for, pet, fondle, manipulate, and molest manatees is too great for most participants to resist. This failure of the rule is easily observed any day of the year in Crystal River, Florida. Especially disturbing is the continuous disregard of the passive interaction rule by those most familiar with it, the local Swim with the Manatee tour industry. Any captain or guide has been in the water with manatees hundreds of times. They know what a manatee feels like. They have no legitimate reason to be touching a manatee in any way. If your guide reaches for and touches a manatee, he is doing it to manipulate the animal in some way. Continuously swimming to the front of the manatee keeps the manatee from leaving. Scratching under the flipper will keep the manatee at the surface. A hand behind the flipper is used to direct injured manatees during rescue. There is no place for it for any other reason. If your guide tells you to scratch, rub, or massage a manatee, he is instructing you to disregard the passive observation rule. If your guide tells you that all manatees love being handled, scratched, and rubbed, he is mistaken. Most of the manatees are doing their best to avoid the interaction. There are habituated manatees. It is in the financial interest of the local tour industry to continually habituate manatees. This has resulted in manatees being turned into pets. These pet manatees are much more likely to be hanging out in the vicinity of people and boats. This is extremely dangerous for manatees. If a person truly cares for manatees, the passive observation rule must be observed. The absolute best time anyone can have with a manatee is when a manatee approaches not for food, a scratch, or a rub down, but because the manatee truly wants to be near you. The only way to know if that is happening is to not touch. Keep wildlife wild, for their sake. Please do not touch.